It was also during these years that he began the tradition of the big letter, his yearly epistle to the masses. One of Thor's most remarkable achievements was that he never lost a friend. If you crossed his path and he thought you were interesting, he never let go of you. He called you, he emailed you, he looked you up if he was in your town, whether that town was Dublin or Dubuque or Dubai. Every new assignment brought a new group of friends, but he never let go of the old friends. As of this morning, over 25,000 people had visited rememberthor.com. It is at this point in the narrative of a young man's life that the narrator usually gets to say, and then he met the love of his life. Instead, Thor met Michael Pitts. Michael was running transportation for the convention, and Thor was his intern. They could so easily have hated each other. They were both outsized personality with large voices and dominating manners. I see them as two sumo wrestlers entering a ring and circling each other. But instead of going for the throwdown, they joined arms, jumped the ring, and plowed through the crowd, trampling a few spectators along the way. Come on, follow us. We'll work really, really hard, and then we'll have fun. And they did work hard at 2 national conventions, at the Olympics, at the Goodwill Games. They were the most improbable of partnerships. Thor brought order to Michael's chaos. Michael brought affability to Thor's sharp edges. They were like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, except much bigger, and biracial, and all male, and utterly graceless. Okay, they were nothing like Fred and Ginger. They were nothing like any other partnership I know, but when they walked into a bar together, the entire room gravitated to them, and the laughter grew uncontrollably loud. In Act the Third, Thor takes a few deep breaths. Frequently, fatherhood is the great mellower of men, but in Thor's case, it was unclehood. He doted on his niece and nephew, Olivia and David. His love for them was unbounded and unconditional, and it softened him. It was so easy for us to look at them, a girl 2 years older than her brother, and see ourselves. Thor never missed an opportunity to spend time with them, teaching them to throw a frisbee, helping them learn to ride a bike. Of all the reasons I grieve my brother's death, nothing makes me sadder than his absence from their future. He was a devoted but cantankerous son. When Dad announced his interest last summer in visiting New York City to see a sculpture exhibit at MoMA, it was Thor who made the travel arrangements, who went with Dad, who navigated the big city like the advanced pro that he was. There was nothing he would not have done for his father. And I can say, with due consideration of all the men that I know, that he was the best brother in the history of the world. Thor celebrated my victories and mourned my defeats. He was my biggest cheerleader, my confidant, and my best friend. His great relationship with Bernard was a joy, and the three of us shared an extraordinary relationship of respect and love. I don't know anyone else who had what we did. Thor's most recent big adventure was his time in Kosovo. In that unlikely setting, I think he finally became fully comfortable with himself. He was wiser. He managed to become more mature without losing his sense of fun, his joy in the absurd. He found a voice that was funny without being harsh. He loved his colleagues there, rejoicing in weekly games of ultimate frisbee and traveling to Greece, France, Turkey, England. He managed to become kinder and gentler while retaining his wit. Perhaps it's not surprising that it was the kinder, gentler Thor who rediscovered the heartthrob of his youth, his great good friend Stephanie Dorscher, his travel companion, his daily correspondent, his long-distance Valentine. Of all the relational ways that I can be described, David's daughter, Bernard's wife, Olivia and David's mom, It turns out at the end of the day that the moniker that most defines me is Thor's sister. And I know that for many of us, being Thor's friend has been an important part of who we are. So now I'm trying to figure out how to be Thor's sister without Thor. I think I do that by celebrating every day who he was, by holding on to that generous spirit, to that enormous heart, to that joy. Long after the TSA made flying an ordeal, Thor continued to enjoy getting on airplanes. To him, every trip was the opportunity for a new adventure, and he loved them all. The last time I saw him was at Dulles Airport when I dropped him off for the plane to Kabul. He gave me an envelope with a letter he had dashed off. "Just a few things you should know," he said, if things don't work out. So on Monday, I opened the envelope. Handwritten on the front, it said, "Sic transit Gloria." If your Latin is a little rusty, that's roughly, "Thus passes the glory." Inside were some financial instructions and this note. "Hi, Maren. Here's a quick letter, just in case, oh, gruesome thought, I get blown up or something else bad happens and I am dead." All caps. Number 1, have a party. Invite my friends. Give away my books. 2, thanks for being a great sister. You're the best. 3, David and Olivia, thank you, thank you, thank you. Such a great niece and nephew. Lucky me. Dad, Bernard, Michael J., everyone. Thanks very much. Such a nice life. So much fun.